Guess who found a dead horse?
Oh no. You're going to transcend time and space just to smack the author with a dead horse, aren't you?
Just to beat the author to death with it. We're on chapter 4 of Didn't It Blow Your Mind, Claude Frollo. You're listening to What Are We Reading? Part 4, Nisha Gets Curious.
Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
Don't you fucking start with me, boy. In a more interesting story, this might have to do with a character discovering who they are sexually. This is not an interesting story. Several days passed since that amusing episode in the town square. Claude and I witnessed Iggy McMullen and Phoebus putting on a street performance. Iggy had lifted Fern's guitar from the Chevy, then decided to earn a little cash. What could it hurt? I needed bread, he told his sister. Iggy didn't bank on Fern making a hasty return from Greenfield after reading Shahan's message. He also didn't bank on Fern making an emergency trip through time just to give her nutty brother a good thumping, and that she did. And she did just that. I can read.
Just I don't know if it's because you're like talking about like, oh, it's sexually discovering themselves, giving her brother a good thumping, or if it was the fact that
oh God.
It's one of those stories.
You gotta keep the best genes in the family.
Fucking hell.
I mean, it could be worse. Oh God, I'm just flashing back to fucking Wade playing red flags. Just at one point, just like something happened, he just starts screaming, "Keep it in the family!"
Oh jeez.
Like the red flag he got was, they think you look just like their sister, and that's a good thing. He just starts yelling that, and I remember like a comment on one of the videos of like one of the people in that group. It just said, somewhere in the Google/YouTube algorithm, the bot has no idea what to do with Wade angrily screaming, "Keep it in the family."
Well then.
I have to admit, that does seem like it confused the algorithm. Is this family friendly or not?
With Claude and me watching this entire scene, Fern stormed across the square, snatched the basket that already overflowed with gold coins, and grabbed Iggy by the collar and gave him
These are useless in the modern day.
Gave him the worst tongue lashing I've ever heard.
Ew.
Poor Iggy was speechless as his sister verbally ripped him apart. In public, citizens cracked up. They thought it was part of the act. And poor Phoebus... I don't know. And poor Phoebus, he's such a twit. He stood there absolutely helpless while Fern read Iggy the riot act. Of course, Fern didn't blame Phoebus. After all, he doesn't know my brother, but he really should keep Iggy out of the Darcy estate until I could take him home, she said to Claude and me after the ex-soldier took Iggy back to the Chateau Darcy.
I know you pronounce it that way just to annoy me.
How's it supposed to be pronounced, honestly?
I'm pretty sure it's Darcy. Chateau Darcy.
I'm just going to say Darcy because it rolls off the tongue easier.
Not really.
For me, it does.
It doesn't Darcy does not sound good in any capacity. But, of course, cautioned Fern that Iggy's presence may be a pleasant novelty for many Parisians, but I simply cannot have him run amok through the city. My dear Fern, Daniel, Claude never called Iggy by his nickname. Wait, my dear Fern, Daniel, Claude never called Iggy by his nickname. Must be kept out of sight until you arrange his return to the 20th century. I knew, and Fern knew, that Claude was referring to those unexpected complications surrounding Theodora's box. Leave this poor woman's box alone. I had reassured Claude that Iggy couldn't possibly take something of such high value, even if he was in need of funds to buy that equipment. Iggy is no thief. He may be too left of center, but he's no thief. ¿Por qué? Pretty sure left of center back then is basically center now.
Possibly. Don't know. Claude smiled when I told him all about Iggy and his glory days of 1960s counterculture and of his band, Hornet's Nest.
I mean, hell, left of center here is typically right wing in other places.
Dear Claude didn't quite understand or approve of Iggy's politics, his dress, or his juvenile antics, but he finally
you speak of equality.
But he finally told me that he jumped to conclusions for nothing. My love, I should listen to you more often. Never did I accuse Daniel of theft. Theodora's box has been safely locked away in the dungeons for nearly a year.
Whoa.
I worried myself over nothing.
Whoa.
Okay,
Theodora's
then.
Some kinky shit. Although now I'm just thinking of, what was it? It was fucking Spaceballs with the fucking chastity belt, right?
Maybe?
I think it was Spaceballs.
I know Spaceballs had the Virgin alarm, but...
Yeah. No, what? Oh, fuck. What one was it with the fucking chastity belt? It was like one of those old comedies. That's also the other thing that comes to mind. Indeed, Claude had put himself through unnecessary torment over that box. Oh, we definitely know that Claude is tormented by that box.
I don't know whether this makes this more entertaining or more hilarious because of the light that we've put this in. Well, or that you've put this in and that I'm just kind of going along with.
We know he was tormented over Esmeralda's box.
Yeah. No, I did.
Claude is easily tormented by that box. It's safe and sound, and in a place no one can get to it. Claude made sure of that. He really needs to stop storing things up his ass.
While sitting in my private chambers in the Palais mulling... I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry.
It's a good thing no one's going to find you, Claude. Now, why don't you take a seat? I would rather not.
Mulling over the events of the past few days, I decided to send my parents a message via the pager. Via whatever, the pager. Ever since my brush with death and my folks meeting Claude Frollo, I had Jackie and Tony make up a special edition pager time traveler for Mama and Daddy. Although my folks didn't want to make time trips right away, we could keep in touch with each other whenever I was the 15th. Okay.
There's a lot of stuff to get into. One, who the fuck thinks that bringing their parents through time is a good idea?
I don't know.
That'd be like a scientist bringing their father in to see the Hadron Collider that they were working on. Doesn't seem like the best idea.
Maybe not.
Hey, I'm going to expose you to this potentially hazardous tech I built. Or that my friend built. The legend surrounding Theodora's box. Yes, it was a box of legend.
A battle will be legendary.
Your battle with that box shall be legendary?
Yes.
Well. You sure you don't typically play bards?
Yes.
Allow me to sing a song about that box.
Fucking hell.
Any number of songs by Prince would work there.
Yeah.
Just so long as the song you're singing about that box is not Cherry Pie, we should be good. That is a terrible
Purple
song
Rain.
about vagina.
Purple Rain starts playing in the background.
And ever since Claude showed it to me, Mama was especially intrigued once I showed her a photo of that priceless box. I mean, artifact.
So for this
nudes to your mom.
Keep it in the family, Llytic.
Oh my god.
So for this morning, I sent a message to Mama along with a request for Daddy. Oh.
Gonna be showing Daddy that box. Dear Mama and Daddy.
You want to read that, or you want me to read that? The next line.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm in the 15th century with Claude and Fern and Claude. Please don't worry about me. I know I'll be fine. Anyway, do you remember that photo of that gold box? Been decorating a bit. That's nice. I showed it to you this past Thanksgiving when Claude dropped by and had dinner with us. He told you all about Theodora and the box and the ex-Roman slave. I don't know why that fucking sentence. You know how much I love talking about slavery, Daddy.
It should be the Roman ex-slave, but
No. He was a previous Roman, but still a slave. He never really got free. It was all a lie. It got me thinking that there's more to this story than we already know. Daddy, could you show that picture to Professor Selden? I know she's into ancient and medieval history. She really likes old boxes. We had to pull her from the retirement home several times.
Okay, then.
She could fill in the holes. Of Etienne and Andre's story. Didn't she say she was working on a paper on a similar topic? I remember her telling me about priceless artifacts lost during the siege of Istanbul back in the mid-7th century AD. Perhaps she could find out how Theodora's gold box ended up in Palestine. Then she mentioned that someone had done research on a similar project, but was mysteriously abandoned more than 20 years ago. I've decided to stay on in medieval Paris. I don't expect me to return anytime soon, but I'll stay in touch. Love, Nisha.
Yeah, the whole thing with that, it's like, yeah, sure, let's go show a completely random stranger who doesn't know about time travel this disposable camera picture of a priceless artifact. That won't raise questions at all.
Look at my box.
There, maybe Professor Selden can find out something for me. That innocent request would have far-reaching consequences for me, for Claude, for Francois Pateau, and especially for Iggy. I never realized that a simple note home could...
I love my comfy towel. How odd that certain actions and decisions can affect so many lives. Again, I love my comfy towel.
Amen to that.
Oh, God, we started a war. Anyone who gets that reference, you're not really that special. A lot of people have, read Time Travel. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Or listen to the original audio drama, or the several other audio dramas that were made after the fact, or played the video game.
There's a video game?
Yeah, it was one of those text-based games.
Cool. I kind of want to play that now.
If memory serves, it was one of those things where it was really easy to die early on because, it's not like the game ever told you that your house was about to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So if you dawdle around too long in the morning, you die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's...
Sure to leave your house quick.
Yeah, I love old text-based games. Stuff like the point-and-click adventures. Those are a lot of fun.
Later that morning, I went out to the courtyard and sat with the book of Howard Thurman essays. Began reading when Francis Poteau approached me. Seemed rather upset, but I chalked it up to his overloaded work and study schedule. But when he asked me, my curiosity about him became even more acute. God, it's went from 90 to 85 degrees.
Pardon, Mademoiselle Nisha, but I'd like your opinion on something.
That's not a question. I've always considered myself a good listener.
That's also not a question.
Something no good listener has ever said. Even Claude has come to me with his problems, no matter how petty. But for today, I listened to Francis's latest worry. Something doing the right thing when faced with a dilemma. Something about Something about doing the right thing when faced with a dilemma.
Stop making it worse than it is, Llytic.
Something doing right thing.
Nothing doing. Sounds almost like the sermon. Sounds almost like the sermon Dell delivered nearly a year ago. Maybe Francois needs a little guidance down the right road.
What the fuck? Stop acting like you know what's right for everyone. You are not some moral arbiter. I silently beckoned him to sit and tell me what was on his mind. When he gathered his thoughts, I studied once again this adorable young man. Ew. His rosy, chubby face glowed even in this anxious mood.
Oh god, he's catching fire.
Yes.
Honey, whatever's on your mind, you can tell me.
Francois is on fire. Francois is on fire. Let the motherfucker burn. What are the full lyrics? I can't quite remember.
I don't... What song is it?
The roof is on fire.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's the Bloodhound Gang version.
Yes, that
the
group.
Roof is on, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn.
Okay.
So yes, Francois is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. Anyway, your line.
No, I
Did
read
you
my
say
line.
Honey?
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever's on your mind, you can tell me. That's what I said.
Francois went on to tell me about how some of his classmates had taunted him because of his dedication to his studies. What the fuck is going on? Why is quote-unquote modern bullying issues being brought up in medieval France?
Didn't it blow your mind, Claude Frollo, that modern bullying issues are a thing in France?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel right. Wrong. Aye. He then told me that a few of these youths dared him to accompany them on an all-night binge of harlots and booze. Go with them. Do it. You are in for the best night of your life.
But he's 19.
Yes.
Oh wait, 15th century. 15th century France.
He's also legal. Regardless, he's legal. Or are you talking about the booze?
I was talking about the booze, and
he's definitely legal for the harlots.
Yeah, but he's probably legal for the booze because it is like the 15th century, the 15th century France.
Actually, I want to check
15th century
France drinking
France.
age. France drinking age 2020. 18.
All right, he's legal.
Do it. Do it, Francois. I refuse, mademoiselle. Why? I've invested too much of myself as well as gain Minister Frollo's favor to ever jeopardize my future. Minister Frollo is Catholic. He's made up primarily of guilt and alcohol.
So that kind of this next line kind of blows the he's rich thing out of the water.
I'm an orphan. Why were you wearing velvet?
Because Minister Frollo took a special interest in him.
Got it. But His Grace has already told you all about me. It's just that I remember what you said about not having fun. About ordering my priorities and balancing work and pleasure. Yes, you've done the work. Now pleasure yourself. Wait.
I will proceed to pleasure myself with this fish.
Hey, that's something for some bad phrasing. But what those boys wanted me to do, get drunk and get laid, I'm just going to do it, Mademoiselle Nisha. It's not in my nature. Not in my nature to fuck.
Yeah, maybe he's asexual.
Maybe. Either that or maybe he has a low sex drive.
That's also a possibility. After
It's
I listened,
really unfortunate whenever you're asexual but have a high sex drive.
After I listened to all this, I put my hand on Francois and said, "Francois, you made the right choices. Stick to your principles and
it's not really a black and white issue there.
Stick to your principles and never let those other guys pull you down with them. They're jealous because you have what they don't. Determination, commitment, and ambition. Don't let them take those qualities away from you."
You know, you can have all of those and also get wasted and fucked.
Yeah, well. Apparently it's mutually exclusive. Apparently it is in this world.
No, it's not.
I'm talking about
very much not mutually exclusive.
The fan fiction thing, because Nisha is clearly the voice of wisdom beyond her years. Listen to what she says.
Wisdom means that you beat the shit out of an assault victim.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. Upon hearing that, Francois Pateau patted my hand. Head
pats. Come on, Llytic.
I think it's kind of just in poor taste for a white guy to suddenly just reach out and touch a black person's hair without asking.
Yeah.
The fact that that's even a thing in the first place. Like, oh, that looks different. I wonder how it feels. Why the fuck are you touching my hair?
I mean, when I was a kid, I always wondered what that felt like. I never, touched the person's head or anything like that, but I was just like, that's weird looking.
Don't head pat without consent, kids.
Not weird looking, different, and it intrigued me.
Wait, yeah, I kind of missed that part. What the fuck?
Yeah, different and intrigued me. I'm sorry, I phrased that poorly.
What the fuck, baby Thomas? Little Babu Tom? Baby Tomothy?
Okay.
Then said before leaving, "Thank you, mademoiselle. I knew I could count on you, on your good advice."
You know, because she's the main character.
Again, I have a thing where, I'm running a story. Oh, here's a character who has, a personal philosophy that happens to be one that kind of falls similar to my own. I'm not going to act like they're completely right 100% of the time. And I'm not going to have it to where other people are like, "Thank you for telling me how I should do things." It's not how that works. I'll remember what you said.
He's a good kid, but there are forces out there that'll bring a young man down very fast.
Like sexual frustration.
Poor thing.
The poor child. By which I mean 19-year-old, which technically speaking, still child psychologically. Not fully mature, point being.
Yes.
But if you had to wait till you were fully mature, you'd have to wait till you were 25. I didn't notice the signs, but Claude did. He became very concerned with changes in Francois' behavior. Over the past few days, Francois Pateau acted strangely, not speaking for several days and being sloppy with his work and studies. It happens when you start getting laid.
Claude chalked it all up to the kid's tutor, Leon Moton.
Ah, that's who he was fucking.
"My love, you know I believe that a demanding academic curriculum is vital to a young man's success, and I can tell you all honesty that Moton is the poorest excuse for a teacher. Moton's methods are appalling. How he ever became an educator is beyond me."
Can we go back to that demanding academic curriculum thing?
Yeah, what about it?
I'm pretty sure that's not the case for everyone. Yes, you do want it to where there is challenge to it, but you don't want it to where it's just like, dear God, what the fuck am I doing? Because that's how you end up giving children stress disorders. What the fuck?
Claude glared hard when he added, Francois is a brilliant...
He's hard, is he?
Is a... Damn it, Llytic. Francois is a brilliant, very capable young man, but I suspect Moton knows not 1 ounce of subject content. It is no wonder the poor boy comes to me in need of assistance.
Why is he a tutor then? What? That's no. My God. It was after Francois and I had that talk that Claude personally discharged Leon Monton. Yeah, Monton. And hired another, more thoroughly trained educator. Francois' skills improved to nearly 200%. And he became even more dedicated to his studies, losing what little social life he had. Of course, that didn't set too well with his peers, mostly because of his dying social life, who needled him nearly every day with their sordid tales of Saturday nights of drinking binges and brothels. I mean, so long as it's oh, that's an interesting phrase I almost said. I almost said ethically sourced prostitutes.
What the fuck is your mind?
Okay, well, is the whole thing is like, I have no problem with people making money off of having sex. Is the whole thing the issue is more the prostitution industry itself, that being lack of safety for workers, as well as the typically abusive relationship between pimp and prostitute. What I'm saying is make sure that the prostitutes you're going for are self-employed.
Good, solid advice there.
But in all seriousness, being a prostitute has, I believe, the highest mortality rate of just about any job in existence. Yes, that does include oil field work, like deep sea oil workers. Yeah.
Well, this took a turn.
Yes. Anyway, point is, I gotta find shade of prostitution. But Francois held firm. No way was he about to throw away his bright future. Look, the way he's going, the only way he's ever going to get laid is if he pays someone.
This pleased Claude so much that he told me that for once all was going well for him. Misha, I'm pleased to inform you that all plans for the king's reception are in order. I've received word that Andre Darcy will return to Paris expressly for this occasion. He leaned over to kiss me, then requested a favor of me. Well, 2 favors to be precise.
Soon Francois will pay me. Fucking hell. I don't know why, the way you just went into that. At this point, he's going to have to pay someone to have sex. This pleased Claude.
Yep, that was kind of the angle I was going for there.
Damn it. Denisha, I wonder if I can persuade you to play piano for His Majesty, since no one from my time can play the damned thing, and since the king's so intrigued with that instrument. Or maybe you could just bust out the hurdy-gurdy.
Give me one moment.
Piano invention?
Yes,
Piano invention date. Early 18th century. What if we go with the organ, pipe organ?
It was either so it was for the 15th century. It was probably the harpsichord rather than the piano. So that's a historical inaccuracy right there.
Well, the piano was invented in the early 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't have been back then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
However, the organ was invented in the 3rd century. And the whole thing is, like, I'm not saying that if you can play a pipe organ, you can play a piano, but the two are related very much.
Yeah.
So it seems like it would be very much a transmissible skill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it probably would be organ because the harpsichord wasn't invented until the 16th century, which we're in 15th century France right now, right?
We're in 15th.
Yes, so. Huh.
Point is, where the fuck did you get a piano?
Time travel.
Just now let me strap this piano onto my car before I...
Now I silence Claude's words with a kiss. Sugar britches, I would be honored to play for King. But I think a little Gershwin, some Jerome Kern, maybe some Scott Joplin should be in order. Because I don't think His Majesty's quite ready for that old-time rock and roll.
Maybe even some Joseph Stuntway. I'm not sure why that's the first thing that popped into my head was Scott Joplin. Claude Frollo laughed, then expressed his gratitude in a way that always sends thrills through my body. Ah! No. I don't want the implied Frollocation.
Implied Frollocation intensifies.
So I got a little bit of wordplay.
Oh, that one caught me off guard.
You then asked something else of me, something that would lead to the funniest events. Funny is a relative term.
Quasimodo displayed the strangest behavior yesterday. While we were reviewing his lessons, he began asking me about your time, about the 1960s and 1970s, to be precise. Tell me, Nisha, what have you told him about the 20th century?
Well, mostly about social reform, if memory serves. Now, I didn't think that a few Riley poems, a couple African-American folktales, and quoting a few lines of American presidents would cause much harm. You're fucking with time! But I guess Quasi became intrigued with my time and how it was for me growing up. Claude, if Quasimodo's been asking all that, then it's because I told him about some of my childhood days. Happy memories, mostly stuff from my school days. After all, I peaked in high school. I'm sorry if I overstepped any boundaries.
Again, I was silenced by Claude's kiss. Dearest Nisha, you haven't overstepped. He paused to chuckle, then continued. You haven't done anything wrong. It's that the poor boy does get confused sometimes. Would you be a darling and visit with him? I would accompany you, but I have the most horrendous schedule today. Could you do that for me?
I don't know why. Now I'm just thinking of that one episode of the Looney Tunes show where, like, they find out that fucking Daffy Duck had yet to peak. Like, wait a minute. Your life at high school was like this. Is like the same way, like equally terrible now. You know what that means, right? You haven't peaked yet.
Just imagining the whole thing when he's like telling everyone different things, and then he just has a super serious look. I'm Batman.
Well, Bugs, I guess you peaked in high school, didn't you? Turns out no. His life's also been lateral, just a lot better. Good show, surprisingly. Like, the whole thing that people don't seem to realize with the original Looney Tunes is that while yes, slapstick was an important part of it, it was much more based off of dialogue than most other cartoons from the time.
Oh yeah, and that's part of why it's such a classic.
And so the whole idea of transferring it to a more modern setting with the characters being the same characters, and having it to where it's like, again, based.
I feel was criminally underrated just because they stayed true to the main character's character per se, but were able to set it in a different time than what the original shows were in,
like a different setting and all that, while also doing like heavy like callbacks and implication, like doing implied callbacks and shit to the original cartoons. Now, of course, the original cartoons are still going to be better, but that's the whole thing of. It's a whole bunch of different shit. I mean, it was the first time we ever got a characterization for Lola Bunny, the character created for Space Jam. If anyone dares try to like bring this shit up with me, I'm just going to say that her entire character was the fact that she played sports and hated people calling her babe.
Not much else going on there.
No, it was lazy 90s female, like strong female character writing, and that the character wasn't a strong character. It's what they thought that a strong woman was. You know, that sort of thing.
Also, the Looney Tunes show got us that one amazing Behold the Wizard music video with Daffy Duck being a wizard.
Also gave us that evil fucking turtle.
Evil turtle.
He worked at that cable company.
I don't think I saw that episode. Or
basically, the whole thing is that once a month he would cancel a customer's cable program and just spend as much time as he could fucking with them.
Ah, yes.
Making everything as miserable for them as possible, including whenever they asked for someone to come take a look at the problem at their place, waiting outside their house for them to leave the door for just long enough for him to run up, knock, and leave. Leaving a note on the door saying, "Sorry, we missed you. We'll have to reschedule."
Yeah, that guy sounds like a total jerk. I hope he got run over by a bus.
Well, he didn't. He did end up getting his comeuppance, and it was pretty funny. But it's a whole thing of, God damn it, that part doesn't feel relatable.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whole thing of, oh, we'll be here between this time and this time. You just gotta spend hours, and it's always the moment that you're out of the living room that they show up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get to the door within 5 minutes, it's like, oh, sorry, we missed you.
Yep, it's like they're trying to mess with folks or something. I don't know.
Yes, that's the joke.
Yes.
Let's see. What fucking line is it? My Smile? Is that where I am?
No, I think Claude Frollo is the... No, you read that, then I did Quasimodo.
You said the part about being silenced with Claude's kiss, again.
You said the...
I haven't said the next one.
I thought you did.
My smile was as broad and pleasant as his, as I replied. I'd be glad to answer Quasi's questions. Besides, I don't mind spending time with my little buddy. Quasi didn't deserve this.
No, he didn't. Little did I know that a certain someone had slipped back into town. Heck, he slipped through time portals and teamed up with his newfound ex-soldier friend. The team is
Phoebus.
spelled wrong. And
oh my God.
And we, Fern, Claude, and I, thought he was back in our time looking for a job and an apartment. This crazy man had already met the bell ringer while taking a tour of the cathedral. And then he talked Phoebus into lending.
Oh my God. Ugh. It's the way of the issue is the fact that the language used between the narration and those asides doesn't seem to mesh well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling it.
You could do a whole thing of describing a scene, and then the narrator's like, wait, what the fuck is he doing over there? You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh God, it just, for some reason, it doesn't seem to mesh. Part of it is those fucking pauses, which I hate. I think it's supposed to be... I don't know what it is, because the only way shit like that could work is maybe if they were looking back on it and laughing and that being interrupting. You remember that part last chapter?
Yeah.
And then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That thing that... Oh God, was I glad Claude never found out about neither one of those groovy parties. But he wasn't too pleased when we used Snowball as a guinea pig. I'm sorry, what?
What did you do to the horse?
What did you do to the horse? Is it dead? Because if it is, I'm beating you to death with it.
You already found a dead horse, though, or did you lose it again?
Well, it's convenient if one's already there. That way I don't have to drag it with me. Or put it in my inventory.
True. Gotcha.
Except Claude, who expressed his amusement in private. He forgave me for allowing Iggy to put on that throwdown in the tavern. What did you do to the horse? Did you fight the horse at a tavern?
Fucking just imagining the freaking there's an old tune called Brave Star.
Tangled.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but the Brave Star, it's like the horse turns from like a cyborg horse into like an anthropomorphic horse, and I'm just imagining him getting up and like putting his dukes up.
I don't know. All I'm imagining is like that one scene in Tangled where the horse just shows up at that tavern and just like hooves up, pushes the people aside.
Yeah, that too. That works too.
That Tangled's a good movie.
Mm.
Actually, Claude was quite taken by our impromptu performance of fighting his horse, especially when I dedicated a line from that old Jackson 5 song to him. 1, 2, 3. It's easy as it. Wait, A, B, C. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Easy as you and me. I
don't know the lyrics to that song.
You know the one I'm thinking of, though, right?
Yes. It's I don't even remember what it's called. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, do, re, mi. All that.
It was a good thing he didn't see what Iggy did earlier, that being RKOing Snowball.
That poor horse never stood a chance.
RKO out of nowhere. Or else Claude would have nailed Iggy. Kinky. Let's hide to the nearest tree.
Then things took a dramatic turn. Daddy would send a message, make that a misdirected message, which would forever change a lot of lives.
Claude Frollo would be in the middle of it all. So would Francois. So would be Iggy. All right, it's been maybe 30 minutes.
Been about 40 or so. Do we want to do another one?
Another chapter.
Okay.
Chapter 5. The Bell Ringer and the Ex-Captain Mellow Out. Oh my god, if this one involves weed, I might just forgive you.
Oh, it is green, so...
That is not green.
It's a weird greenish color.
It has blue. Unless you're in certain Asian countries, that is not green.
Green, blue, turquoise, something on the cool color spectrum.
That is like robin shell blue.
It's hurting my eyes.
It's robin egg blue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess. Periwinkle.
I'll parry your fucking winkle if you aren't careful.
No.
Wow, threats become a lot less imposing whenever you have fucking dyslexia. While Denisha is off to Notre Dame, Minister Frollo receives a visitor. This is Fern Grigsby, his New World spy. She's brought some good news. Read on. No.
My dear Fern, I hope you have it.
Fern chuckled as she produced the object from her duffel bag. The good judge smiled as she explained. Claude, I thought I'd never get this job done. Why? I had to wait while the guy... why? I had to wait while the guy... why I had to wait while the guy... Okay, that's what it's supposed to be.
Claude Frollo shushed her.
That shouldn't be a semicolon, then. That should be a separate sentence. That's what fucking threw me.
Claude Frollo shushed her whilst glancing about his study, even though he and the only people in the room, but there was always that chance.
Gonorrhea, Pilgrim. Claude, are you okay? You seem skittish and everything. His gray side was relief, but was still somewhat nervous about the outcome of his scheme. It has to work. Tell me I did the right thing. At last he addressed Fern. Consider a generous token of appreciation, my dear Fern. As always, you have come through for me. Fern heartily laughed. Her big body shook like jello. Someone has a fetish. Oh, all I want is the satisfaction of seeing this thing put away safe and sound. Shut up, stomach. Oh, wait, shit. That's still me. God damn these fuck. I pity anybody who ever had this person as a student. To that, Claude Frollo replied, well, perhaps I could make a generous donation to l'Academy. Your school has turned out the most gifted young persons. Yes, that has nothing to do with the fact that a highly intelligent and well-read person from the medieval era would be at most average nowadays. Nothing at all to do with that. And I especially thank you for recommending young Francois Patot. Now that he has a more capable instructor, his future is secure. Then the Minister of Justice had something else to say about something else to say to this unusual New World woman who had the distinction for being one of Frollo's more successful spies.
My dear Fern, please accept my apologies. I almost said apologize.
Please accept my apologize.
Do understand that I never outright accused your brother of theft, but after you told me about his freeloading ways, his taste for radical politics, and his general lack of ambition, well, I called him a thief.
Fern looked at him with twinkling eyes and said, apology accepted, sir. I know you've been beside yourself ever since Etienne entrusted you with that box, but believe me, Iggy may be a lot of things, but he isn't a thief. Maybe a pain sometimes, but he knows right from wrong. I know in my heart that Iggy would never do something so stupid.
Frollo was pleased that Fern understood his earlier apprehensions, but he was somewhat intrigued by the strange little man who called himself Iggy. Ever since
No, sir, that's a Boston Terrier. Not a man.
Ever since he and his 14th FSM espied Palai's colonnade, there was something about Iggy that Claude thought so thoroughly enchanting. After all, a haircut, different clothes.
14th Frollo secret mistress.
Yes, I believe Daniel has what it takes, unlike that brother of mine.
Daniel knows how to take it. Claude Frollo then asked of Daniel's whereabouts. Fern replied, took him back to the 20th with me, handed him a classified section, told him he had to find a job and a place to stay. No way I'll have him underfoot all the time. Dwayne would have thrown the bum out anyway.
She paused while Claude Frollo chuckled good-humoredly at the thought of Dwayne Grigsby booting Iggy out of the house. His Grace then asked about Iggy's job hunt, to which Fern responded, right now he's staying with an old friend. If things go well, Iggy's starting his new job at Walmart. Oh, that poor man.
No, nobody deserves to work retail. It's like up there with fast food on jobs that nobody deserves. That is a punishment worse than death.
Just, I don't know. Is it just Mears' story just kind of going off the fucking rails?
It was never on the fucking rails to begin with.
Well, yeah, but what about the rails? The whales.
You know what it started off out as? I'll fucking show you how it started off as.
Didn't we read that one, though?
No. I mean, this specific one. One. You want to know just how off the rails this thing has been since the very beginning?
Sure. Surprise me.
Just give me a sec. Oh. This is how this fucking story started. Whenever this loads in. This is how this fucking story started.
Yes, the train going through the building and just crashing and not quite burning, but almost.
Yes, the Montparnasse derailment. No. It was in France.
How fitting.
Paris, France. I didn't even know that. Paris Express overran the buffer stop at its Gare Montparnasse terminus. But yeah, that's basically how the story started. It was never on the fucking rails to begin with.
Yeah, understandable.
Huh, Iggy in that blue uniform stuffing shells with shampoo, socks, videotapes, and shock absorbers. Fern doesn't realize it, but Iggy's not where he's supposed to be. Rita. Yes, no one belongs at Walmart. No one is supposed to be working retail at Walmart.
Okay, so Quasi got
You
confused.
must have done something horrible in a past life.
Okay, so Quasi got confused with the 60s and 70s stuff, but I only told him so much about my childhood days and only the pleasant, warm, and fuzzy stuff. I hope this little talk helps.
What? As I climbed the many steps to the bell tower, nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the scene that greeted me once I found Quasi. Someone had killed him.
Oh no.
It seemed that someone, well, two someones, had returned to Paris, and Quasi decided to throw a little party. Well, he talked Quasi into it. I don't know, maybe Quasimodo wanted to throw a fucking party.
I heard voices.
We all are.
Coming from the upper floors, 3 voices.
Same.
Exact. Now, I recognized Quasi's voice, and I knew the other man's, but the third I couldn't make out until I got closer and listened carefully.
Well, that Fern took it back to our time. He's supposed to be looking for a job. Sure enough, the third man's voice was rather rough-edged, as near younger Wolfman Jack as anything else. What's going on up there? Is it where Quasi keeps those huge cauldrons? Do I smell pizza? Do I hear singing? Yeah, all 3 of them are singing. Let me listen. Ha, this is too funny.
Louie, oh baby, me gotta go now. Yeah.
Ha. The scene that greeted me as I entered the upper chamber where Quasimodo kept the humongous pots. One pot's for lead, and the other's for water.
Don't get those mixed up.
I don't think all of medieval Paris has ever encountered a scene like this. Yeah, I don't think they really knew about pizza back then.
Quasi, it's me, Nisha. I know you're not alone because I can hear you.
That third voice called out on it. That third voice called out in. Come on up, Nisha, join the party. I'm sure Quasi Bear and old Jethro. Quasi Bear? What the fuck? Yes, Quasi Bear, or as that would translate, half bear. And Quasimodo does mean half formed.
I'm listening to Crazy Train because I think it fits.
Honestly, I just have roundabout stuck in my head.
Yeah, I was listening to that earlier too.
I'll be a roundabout. I'll make you scream and shout it out.
When I reached that room, I almost fainted. But there they were, Quasimodo, Phoebus, and Iggy. Yes, Iggy, stripped down to their tights and sitting in a monstrous cauldron filled with hot water.
Sorry, what?
Pizza boxes and beer bottles littered the floor, and Iggy had the boombox from which the mellow sounds of the 1960s and 70s wafted.
Please tell me there's weed.
That's Fern's boombox. The very music machine, as Claude calls it, designed by Jackie and Tony, so we can enjoy recorded music whenever we're in the 15th. Only a few of us know about that wondrous machine. Claude promised he wouldn't breathe word one. Wait a minute, how did Iggy find his way back to the 15th century? This sounds like Arthur was smoking weed.
I wish I was smoking weed right now. Phoebus addressed me after he took a healthy gulp of beer. Well, that seems oxymoronic. Hello, Nisha. Pardon us for not rising, but Iggy taught Quasi into doing this. Here, he added, pointing to the flat box on the floor. Have some of this fabulous... What is it called? Oh, yes, pizza. Sounds Italian. Pizza.
It's so stupid.
There we go. Etymology for pizza. Dear God, pizza is literally the Italian word for pie.
Hey, what is this story, dude? I'm confused.
Which means that if Phoebus knew any Italian, it'd be like, wait, this is a pie? Also a good example of the English not knowing how to name things. What is this? It's a pizza pie.
When the moon hits your eye,
what's that?
Big pizza pie. That's a
like a big pie. Oh, where's that place? That big desert there. They call it the Sahara? All right, we'll call it the Sahara Desert. Wait, Sahara means desert? Fuck it.
Desert.
There are other examples of this shit, and I can't remember them right now.
It's funny because in English, read rhymes with
don't you fucking start with me.
But read doesn't rhyme with lead, and lead doesn't rhyme with red.
Why do you like this? Oh, God. Phoebus took another bite of cheesy pepperoni-laden pizza. That has got to wreck his intestines.
The name sounds Italian, but the ex-captain said as he took another huge bite, grease dripping down his chin, I was in southern Italy during the wars, and I don't think I tasted anything quite like this. Quasi then explained that Iggy saw the cauldron and wondered if it could be turned into a makeshift hot tub. I thought it was strange at first, just sitting in a pot of hot water, but this is great.
I'm pretty sure that there would be some form of hot tub because it's literally a hot bath. That you're just sharing with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Modern pizza evolved from similar flatbread dishes, and Naples, Italy, in the 18th or early 19th century. The word pizza was first documented in AD 1997, and Gaeta, and successively in different parts of central and southern Italy. Pizza was mainly eaten in Italy and by immigrants from there. There's a Wikipedia page for the history of pizza.
How far we've come.
I'm trying to remember. I think spaghetti's actually like Egyptian in origin.
Interesting.
No, I don't want spaghetti pizza. What? No.
That sounds interesting.
Popular history says that it was invented in China and that Marco Polo brought the knowledge of this food to Venice. The spaghetti Polo encountered and presumably tasted in the Far East was made from either rice flour or hard wheat noodles. Long noodles made from both grains exist in Eastern cookery. Okay, so no, it was probably China. Bowling origin. No, not bowling for soup name origin. Let's see. British anthropologist Sir Flinders Petrie discovered in 1930s a collection of objects in a child's grave in Egypt that appeared to him to be used for a crude form of bowling. If he is correct, then bowling traces its ancestry back to 3200 BC.
Nice.
And is possibly Egyptian in history. Origin. When was bowling invented? Game of bowling can be tracked back to approximately 5200 BC, when ancient Egyptians used stones for their balls. States that the wooden version of the modern bowling ball was invented in 1862. Anyway, that's not important. Granted, like, modern pizza is nothing like how pizza used to be, and hell, like, American pizza isn't even like what Italian pizza tends to be. Also, now with the fact that pizza literally means pie, I'm just really upset at those people who are like, deep dish pizza isn't pizza, it's basically just a casserole. If we're going with the origins of the word, then deep dish is very much pizza because it is more like a pie filled with toppings. Anyway, Quasimodo's expression suddenly changed when he asked a favor of me. Please don't tell my master, Nisha. He'll never understand and I'll never hear the end of it. I don't know, just throw him in a hot tub. Maybe then he'll understand. Make sure you're 5 feet away from him. Of course, I promised Quasi I'd never say a thing to Claude, even though Claude and I vowed never to keep secrets from each other. Quasi was a special little friend, and I knew perfectly well how Claude would react if he ever came up here. At this time, all I could say was, "Oh God, I won't tell Claude Frollo a thing, Quasi, as long as you guys clean up this mess." Hey! Then I realized that Iggy was supposed to be back in the 20th century looking for a job. Again, time's not 1-to-1. He can still go back without losing any time and get a job.
Iggy picked up on this. You are
free to procrastinate when time travel is involved.
Iggy picked up on this and answered my unasked question. Nisha, if you're wondering how I found my way back here, it's because Big Bubba here let me use his little Wayback Machine. I sneaked back here.
He got on the internet.
I sneaked back here after I told Fern I was staying with Roosevelt. Hey, that reminds me.
Roosevelt, aren't you glad I brought you here? Iggy reached over the side of the pot and retrieved something from his duffel bag. He handed over a piece of paper to Quasimodo, who in turn handed it to me. When I read what was on the paper, I finally realized why Iggy came home and asked his sister for a loan.
Your band Hornet's Nest is playing at my reunion. I remember you guys played at my homecoming dance during my junior year.
It was terrible. Iggy smiled and said, "Yeah, you almost got crowned homecoming queen. Thought you got cheated out of that. But anyway, that's why I need bread, and fast. Found this old fender."
Phoebus interrupted. Iggy, did you say bread? Can't you get bread back in the 20th century?
No, we are not doing this. We are not doing this. I hate it. The rest of us laughed when Quasi corrected the ex-soldier. Phoebus, he meant he needed money. Bread is slang for money, just like crib stands for home. Got it? It also means to steal. You know, if you crib someone's style, or crib some money off of them. You could, in fact, crib some bread from someone.
Welcome to English.
You want to take this a step further, you crib some bread from their crib.
Phoebus looked rather blank and said, I think I get it. But I don't think he got it as he continued to stuff his face with pizza and beer.
Phoebus about to catch these hands. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this one video like House did with I don't remember who it was with. What was a whole thing of like, you know what? Just for a sec, we're gonna go full English.
Mm-hmm.
Oi, bro, if you want to go get some cheeky Nando's. Just like kept going on. He's just like, huh. You know, I was really hoping to hear quid because that's the one word I do recognize.
Mm-hmm.
These guys look so relaxed, so with it. I never thought that I'd ever feel that a story purportedly written by a black woman managed to sound so goddamn white. But okay. It's just the time. Maybe With It was more into, say, in the 90s. I guess that makes sense. But dear God, if that doesn't feel like the most white suburban teenager thing right now. Actually, now that I think about it, no, white suburban teenagers might be out of touch, but even they aren't that out of touch.
Hmm?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, maybe Quasi and Iggy, but I don't know about Phoebus soaking in a hot tub. I haven't done that since the summer at Mark's cabin. And with Claude. I guess Iggy's
Sorry, Llytic. I guess I'm not with it right now.
Don't you fucking start with me, you white bitch. I guess Iggy's waiting for me to shimmy out of this long denim dress and into that denim dress. No, excuse you? I'm gonna do some Googling because that sounds awful. Denim. Oh boy, denim dress. One of the first things that pops up is denim dress plus size. Oh, yep, that looks bad. Some of them are more like a long shirt, which can work. But oh god, that is. I hate it. I actively hate it.
It's denim, but it's a dress.
I hate it. Are you looking too?
Yes.
Did you also? Oh my god.
I mean, I'm sure people can pull this off, but good lord, I've got no fashion sense, and even that looks ridiculous to me.
Well, the ones with the shirt under, that doesn't look half bad because it's kind of like an overall thing that can work.
Yeah, that was fine, but just
bad. But then the ones where it's nothing under. What's with the one with the boob pockets?
Oh, look, it's a denim button tube dress.
I hate it. I actually hate it.
Oh, man.
Usually when this sort of shit happens, like the fucking red fishnet, whatever. Some people can probably pull that off. No! No! It looks like you just cut the legs off of a pair of overalls. But actually, if you were to just do that, you could still get it to work because then you could have overall shorts. This! So the whole thing with denim is that it's not it's not a fabric with a lot of flex to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you.
For a dress, you want to have it to where it has some flex to it, so that that shit can move.
Mm-hmm.
Denim don't work that way.
Nope. Not at all.
So it's just because that's the whole thing is typically with either a skirt or dress, that portion of it, you want it to be a material that either you can have it to where either it's wider as it goes down, or you have it to where it's a stretchy material, like with a pencil skirt, like tube dress or something like that, to where when you move, it's not restrictive. Because one, most of these, again, it's the denim thing, and it's a whole form-fitting thing, and that don't work with denim because denim don't stretch.
Nope.
So all I can think about is how fucking uncomfortable that must be.
Yeah.
And then it just also looks bad. I don't care how many fucking models you have in those outfits. It looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate it.
Now, welcome to the one episode that broke Llytic just because someone mentioned a denim dress, you featherweight.
Just because you're fashionably dead doesn't mean that I am. Oh no, there's only one man I strip for. Too bad. Hey, I got an idea, but let me have some pizza first. Oh god,
You can't say no to pizza.
I mean, you can if you're like lactose intolerant or have a gluten allergy or...
Yeah, that's coward's talk.
Considering the fact that depending on the person, that gluten allergy can straight up kill them.
Yes, I know, I'm kidding.
That's like saying, you can't say no to Texas Roadhouse.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to Texas Roadhouse, but that's me.
And the whole thing is Texas Roadhouse just doesn't have that good of selection.
Steak, that's all you need.
I like their lemonades. But I'm not a fan of red meat.
Well, then you could say no to it, but I probably wouldn't.
Like, I like their lemonades. But other than that, like, they got this nice, like, I can't remember what exactly it is, but it's blue lemonade. It tastes good.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah. Also, I swear to God, the only thing I can fucking compare this to is reading the mind of someone with fucking ADD.
Yeah, even when I write things, it's not this off the wall.
Like, this is like any time that I've ever had to, like, just be alone with my thoughts and started, like, verbalizing them in my head. It's just like nothing connects. That looks good, and I am kind of hungry. Iggy did something right. Maybe he can go back to 20th century and get some burgers or some ribs.
Ooh, ribs.
Burgy.
I'd sat on a stone stoop, helped myself to pizza and beer, and once again cautioned Iggy to keep himself and my medieval friends out of trouble. Iggy, you have to go back to your time. You can't stay here because I don't want you to get in trouble with Claude Frollo. He'll fucking crucify you.
All I'm thinking about now is that Today I Learned video, basically what it was about is how far back in time could you go before English became unrecognizable to what it is today.
Not too terribly far, if I'm thinking.
Yeah, not too terribly far, but even then, like, you'd probably be suffering more culture shock than anything because of just how much more terrible society was back then. Like, it's the whole thing is, like, if people from the future somehow survived long enough to create time travel and went back in time to where we are, they would be probably very justified in calling us barbaric.
Yes.
Upon hearing Claude's name again, Iggy then told me about seeing a photo of Fern, Claude, and me, a photo taken during my first Christmas at the Palais. He also remembered seeing a note written in Claude's own handwriting addressed to Fern. Oh, shit. So your Claude Frollo is a judge, eh? Iggy glanced at Quasimodo when he added, and he's your foster father, and gave you a name that literally means half-formed out of just because of how ugly he found you as a baby. Yes, that is what Quasimodo's name means.
And then he turned to Phobos. And you used to work for him.
Wow.
That's the next line, but like...
I know. Then he turned to Phoebus. You used to work for him? Both men nodded. Then Iggy asked me, and what is Judge Frollo to you and Fern? Well, you see, he's plowing me.
I could only tell Iggy so much, but I guess my response was good enough. Claude Frollo, Fern, and I are very good friends. Fern met him during her first time trip here. Didn't she tell you about Jackie and Tony and time machines?
What?
Remember the students who invented the time machine?
Yeah, I'm just like, didn't she tell you about that time machine she built? Evidently not.
Yeah, well.
Iggy finally acknowledged all this, then adding, well, you can't bet I'll stay out of his honor's way. The last time I faced a judge was because my neighbors didn't like that what I grew in my window boxes. Iggy chuckled when he last added, and it wasn't tomatoes.
Ah, there's the weed.
Finally.
I went back downstairs while the Three Stooges finished their party, got dressed, and then joined me outside. Iggy was dressed in an
Three Stooges is too highbrow for you.
Iggy was dressed in an odd mixture of 1960s radical chic and 15th century slop. An oversized brown tunic hung on his short body like a potato sack.
Marilyn Monroe?
The matching tights had seen better days, but those shoes, Iggy insisted on wearing those grimy Birkenstocks, and he topped off the outfit with an old feather-trimmed cap. Outside of the sandals, the only thing remotely 60s was the strand of love beads suspended from around his neck and the "I'm okay, you're okay" button pinned to his cap. Of course, Iggy defended his bizarre fashion statement with, "Well, I gotta have something from home." You're wearing a fucking denim dress. You have no room to talk.
Exactly. Also, like the potato sack thing just reminded me of that one shoot Marilyn Monroe did wearing a potato sack.
Yes, I understood the reference.
Yeah, funny thing. Marilyn Monroe was a fucking slob. She had several maids quit because of how messy she was. She literally had a habit of, like, when she'd she'd eat in bed, which, depending on what you're eating, is usually a faux pas.
Mm-hmm.
But what she would do when she finished the food, she did, like, when she finished what she had eaten, like, when you have what, like, leftover on your plate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say, put it on her dresser or something like that. No, she just put it under the covers. She also did this naked. She'd also leave it there for a few days, and this would pile up.
Good Lord.
Yes. Meaning that if you wanted to fuck Marilyn Monroe, you would have to deal with a fucking stench.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Like, I'm not entirely sure she's worth it. Like, don't get me wrong. She's a very attractive woman. Dear God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Iggy's here. Maybe I won't tell Fern. Maybe I won't tell Claude. If I can get Phoebus and Quasi to keep Iggy occupied. Weed.
Hey, Junior, Iggy said to Quasimodo, what do you dudes do for fun in this town?
Kill people. It's medieval France. What did you expect?
Yeah, true.
The bell ringer was hesitant, but not because he was nervous about the outside world. Indeed, Quasi had been out about Perry many times ever since that horrible conspiracy against Claude. Folks seldom gave him a hard time. He was crowned the Pope of Fools. Don't you start with me. But I knew that Quasi was thinking about his responsibilities at the cathedral. He started to answer, well, I really shouldn't do this, but...
Phoebus interrupted Quasi and said to Iggy, there's this great tavern I know. Maybe we can stop by and split a keg. Is that all right with you?
Ever seen someone shotgun a keg?
No.
Chug. I've heard of a keg stand, but this is ridiculous. The joke here being that the keg was drunk while standing up. Iggy grinned while I sent up a silent prayer. Oh, please don't let Claude find out. Does he frequent taverns? He may not understand, but if he finds out that I'm keeping Iggy under wraps, well, this is one lady who won't be chained up in his private torture dungeon. Well, someone's vanilla.
Yes. Claude Frollo is a wonderful person, because I don't think they mean the sexual kind in this.
Yeah, it's not the fun kind of torture dungeon.
Or maybe it is, depending on whatever your views are. And if your views are that, then you need help.
The fun kind involves consent.
Let's divide, shouted Phoebus.
Phoebus, that's let's split. No, Phoebus, that's let's split. This was Quasi, again correcting Phoebus.
As I kept a safe distance from this trio, I couldn't help but laugh at the ex-soldier's attempts to get cool.
This story does feel like an out-of-touch school teacher wrote it.
Not just me, huh? Okay.
Right on, proclaimed the ex-captain. Right out. Shit.
The bell ringer and the flower child looked at him in bewilderment. Then Quasimodo sighed and said, that's right on.
Once again, poor Phoebus tried to grasp it all. Oh, right. Sure. Yeah. Are you laughing yet?
This is funny stuff. You should be laughing. Ha ha ha. I am laughing. You laugh too. Do not question. Join in.
Again, this is like the whole thing. Like, stories of mine literally involve beings that have been imprisoned for thousands of years, being free. It's like, yes, I do want to do shit involving that sort of culture shock, but I don't want it to be this fucking cringy.
Now, I knew that Quasi had been out before. Folks seldom gave him a hard time.
Pope of Fools incident.
But knowing that he was in the company of Iggy and Phoebus, I had to keep an especially close eye on them.
This year, Iggy would be the Pope of Fools.
Now,
who'd have known that Iggy would make a pass at one of Claude Frollo's many ladies? I think I'm going to vomit. I bet he was glad I was there, or else Iggy would have been in deep trouble. Then he had to use his black Percheron stallion, which was hitched not too far from the tavern.
It was knocked down funny.
Was it?
No.
All I'm hearing is that he made a pass at someone he shouldn't have. That alone is not funny.
Nope.
Iggy brought along his new Ovation guitar. Man, he make that we. Communism. Got it. Almost blew the roof off that tavern. Old Victor, the tavern keeper, was mighty grateful that Iggy took it upon himself to entertain the crowd. To this day, Victor still gushes how that funny little man brought in more money in one night than I've seen in an entire month. Of course, it amazed everyone that Quasimodo had so much talent. That was too far out. Then we got the crowd to join in. I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Gambling, maybe. But things got carried away and someone had made an unexpected appearance. Then, like my Uncle Herb would say, stand back, because the grit's done hit the pan. I think I'm losing my mind. I think Llytic has it worse, though. You okay there, buddy? Sounds like Llytic's grit's done hit the pan as well.
I'm going to turn you inside out, cut you to pieces, and use your eye socket as a cock ring.
Never mind. He's feeling okay.
And how?
Coming up, a throwdown in a tavern. A servant's carelessness proves costly. The Minister of Justice discovers the truth behind Theodora's box. A theft and a frame-up.
Oh, no.
It's pink this
Vagina. Anyway, I'm going to pin this. That's not where I want to put it. Okay, you put it there. All right.
Yes.
I will pin. Ooh. Oof.
Whoop-de-doo. We pinned something.
Thank you to Destiny Barrett and Longreach Jones for supporting us on Patreon. If you like what we do and would like to support us, consider going down to that link in the description, clicking on it, and maybe sending a few bucks our way. Every little bit helps.
Y'all have a good one. Stay cool, everyone.
I wish to die. The door.